Okay, Hare Krishna. Here
Hare
we are
Krishna.
once again with the Krishnacore podcast. This is episode number 18. Here we are once again with Mike Dines and with a special guest with Satya Brata from Chile, but he lives in Finland. He's one of the founders of the band Entrefuego. What is a political thrash band from Chile since the 90s. Mid 90s, and now he's actually playing in Standard with some of our dear friends, with Mohan Das, Nandalal Das, and also Yusi. Yeah, so it's a what basically a strange band. So here we are. Satya Brata, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Nice to see.
very happy to be here, at least in this
It's good
setup
to see you.
with Madhu. It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, we are sorry that we have some issues with the time and and
No, I was just telling Mike that actually the change it came in my benefit. So
great, that's great.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Mike, how are you?
I'm
Everything
good.
okay?
I'm
How's
okay,
going?
thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again,
And
as
you.
always. Yeah. So let's start, Mike. You can give the
So
first. Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Please.
Satya, could you just quickly introduce yourself? Kind of Madhu's already done that anyway, but it would be great for you to say who you are. Again, you know, what kind of band you're in and what you're doing at the moment.
All right. Well, I think Madhu pretty much said everything. My spiritual name is Satya Brata, and I'm currently playing in standard straight edge band with Krishna consciousness inspiration here in Finland. I used to play in Entrefuego back in Chile. As Madhu said, it was a straight edge band with political influence. Not really the typical straight edge lyrics, if we want to call it. I mean, we were kind of very politically aggressive in that sense. We like to play in squats and that kind of hang around with that kind of people. And well, now it's we're a bunch of old men doing some good old hardcore music. So yeah, that's basically it. Where I am now.
And there's nothing wrong with that, with us old blokes still doing that, is it?
No. I mean, it's I think every Rolling says once that punk is not dead, it just goes to bed to a more reasonable time now.
Yeah. As you know, we're doing a series of these, and I'm trying to get Back to Godhead for an interview, and on the Coffee and Hardcore. They are brilliant, aren't they? They're just great.
Yeah.
But on the Coffee and Hardcore interview that they did, they said that they've got something like 4 or 5 kids between the band. So they're really, really busy. And it's kind of, you know, been trying to sort of, you know, goad them into getting an interview, but they're obviously so busy with kids. And you're the same, aren't you? You said that.
Yeah, it's we have, I think in total we have what 3, 4, 5, I guess, and plus a cat. So
and the cash, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And also, you know, we're doing this kind of series. Mohan Das, I've just had a look. It was number 4. He was the 4th interviewee.
All right.
So
he's a great guy.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Mohan Das, yes, good guy. Yeah. Amazing.
It's another source of inspiration. So never ending source. Yeah.
Sure.
Madhu, did you want to, or shall I ask the next question?
First place, how just get in contact with Krishna consciousness at the beginning?
I think I came in contact with Krishna consciousness back in the late 90s, and it was basically we used to hang around in the temples. I think for example, the first kind of planning we had with Entrefuego was in a Krishna temple. I mean, we went there because back then there were not so many options for vegan vegetarian food, and the temple offered, of course, free food. That way was that was the hook, and of course it turns at the end of the day, it turns into the kind of hang around for all the kind of hardcore scene back in those days. And of course Shelter and 108 had a big influence in all that. I mean, but it didn't really do it for me. It was mostly I like the environment, and then of course being surrounded with devotees. Normal, at least for me, it just get me out of trouble, which is my second name. So I think so. I think I mean that was basically it. I mean, I think the Krishna temples turned into a kind of hardcore HQ for us. So
yeah, I spoke to Ray Capo years ago, and I expect he can't even remember speaking to me, but I was trying to dig deeper into how and why straight edge bands were getting interested in Krishna consciousness at that time, and I thought that Ray Capo was going to give me some really long kind of answer, some really spiritual, deep answer. And he said it was because of the free food. He said we were hungry.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, that they would go along to Tompkins Square Park and have this free food.
Well, I mean, Madhu knows, but Santiago is a huge city. And you have plenty of opportunities if you want to get into travel. So, yeah, I mean, the Christ temples offer that kind of shelter in that sense, like no pun intended, but offer that shelter to kind of to be at peace. And I think it was a great environment, and I think the devotees, they understood the situation, and suddenly the lunchtime will be packed with kind of weird looking people, and I think it was great. I mean, it's I have a lot to be grateful for with them. So,
and so did you come from a religious background before that? No, Chile's quite a,
well, Chile is quite Catholic in a way, but no, I think my family, which it's been mostly kind of what's the word? They're non-religious per se, but they have their beliefs. But I think, at least my personal experience, it was just my own search.
Okay,
please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, and did you believe in God before becoming part of the Hare Krishna movement?
Yeah, well, if your question is if I thought God was a bearded old man sitting in a cloud, no.
Yeah.
I in my family always thought about God about being something else, like some sort of energy. My dad once called it the miracle of life. That's God for him. We were quite close to nature, and at least from family point of view, we were always told that God always lies in the small little things in life that makes it wonderful. But we never fell for the kind of dogmatic point of view of a church or any other institution that tells you know what, God looks like this, and this is what you need to do. So and that's why I think Krishna consciousness makes so much sense to me.
In
I mean,
what way?
uh, in a way of that you don't necessarily need to fear God, because that's a very kind of South American way of approaching to faith. Like, yeah, I'm a God-fearing man. I mean, no, it doesn't make any sense. At least it didn't to me. And I always considered that as a friend, like a loving dad, yeah, he can get upset with you, but at the end of the day, he's going to love you anyways, and he's going to forgive you. I mean, at least I can't be upset with my children forever. And I think when I started to dig into the Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures, and I got into touch with the local devotees, that at least the message that started to make sense. Then I thought to myself, well, yeah, maybe these kind of guys wearing sheets are kind of spot on in that one. So yeah, and the funny thing is, I got scared, and I just throw the papers to the air and ran screaming.
Yeah.
Not because I thought they will do wrong to me or else. I think I was taking this kind of head dive into it, and I got really scared because I saw myself living as a hermit in the mountains, and I think I wasn't mentally and spiritually prepared to take that step. I mean, I saw already there that it wouldn't be an easy kind of path to follow. It's if being straight edge came with a lot of restrictions, being a devotee, bro, I had a lot of more into it. So, but the funny thing is, people around me turned into very kind of active devotees. My back then girlfriend sister became a devotee as well. She moved into a temple, and it was just because I had my pocket version of the Bhagavad Gita that I was always carrying with me. And then one day she wanted to read it, and then I actually never saw it again. And, I told her, I guess it's yours now. So yeah. So yeah, then I had my kind of almost 18 years in between what I was and where I am now.
I think that's it's really interesting, because the more and more I kind of read around this subject, and my kind of relationship with something like Christianity, because we obviously we a Christian country, and that notion of God fearing, and I could be wrong here, but yeah, I don't think the Bible says that. I think that's a really kind of Christian-based kind of, especially a US evangelical, that you have to fear God fearing. What a horrible thing to be. And I think it's about awness. I think it's about being in awe of God, that kind of sublimity, not a feering thing.
No, and I think you also need to be in a situation in which you can challenge that belief. I mean, but challenge not in a bad way, in a sense of you need to be able to ask questions, and you need to be able to get into the source and try to understand. And if you don't understand, well, you talk to someone who is going to make it clear for you. Yeah. And I mean, I have kind of friends who are deeply Catholics, and that's fine. I mean, it's no problem to me. I mean, it's their belief, and I respect that. And sometimes we have actually had some long discussions in which they try to tell me, yeah, now you're working with the Antichrist. No, I'm not. It's just, it's just the same thing, just with a different name. It's the same coin. Still, I mean, but it used to. it didn't annoy me, but it did bother me a little bit that they could kind of be so narrow-minded in that sense that they just took in whatever the priest or the pastor said, and that was it. And I was always trying to say, but doesn't really wants to make it think a little bit further. Is have you put yourself in the what if situation? I said, I'm not denying things, but what if what have we have been told is not actually the way it went? I mean, I think with Madhu, we have had this discussion before, but for me, if you want to understand the text, you need to go to the original one. For instance, if you want to understand the Christian Bible, then you need to go to the Hebrew Bible and read it in the original language, which is probably the Old Hebrew. And then from there, you will see that maybe the word you were looking for is going to have at least 3-4 meanings depending on the context. And therefore, you're going to have to sit with someone or in a group and try to see if you understand, if you all understand the same thing. And that's actually how the debate is started. But then if I read the English version, I have, for example, here at home 2 different Hebrew Bibles, and sometimes I try to compare just for being kind of playful. And the text is written differently. And of course, when you read it when you write it differently, your interpretation is going to be different.
Yeah.
So, and at least with the Bhagavad Gita, you read it. Of course, you have the English version, but you also have the original Sanskrit, and then you have the purport, which is the interpretation, and then you get your own conclusions as well. So, that's the kind of interesting thing with that.
Yeah. And more than that, I mean, if you just trying to continue a little bit that Satya Brata says that's why you must take a shorten in a bona fide guru, and that's something that Bhagavad Gita itself says, And bona fide guru, it's not just someone who speak nice or understand the Bhagavad Gita or other scriptures just in a superficial way or intellectual way, academic way with academic language. No, those things are not are completely useful to understand Krishna consciousness. The only way to understand Krishna consciousness is through the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So if we take the mercy of the Vaishnavas, high-class Vaishnavas, and we associate with high-class Vaishnavas, bona fide sadhus, we get that, We don't see it sometimes. Of course, some people can speak nicely, or it's a bit dry, It's like, but for example, and that's why we go to the next questions, like how it feels like you get initiation, for example, from who is also my guru, the Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, and because we talk a lot about it all the time we were in London, and how's the process, like where your life changed, like how was the process, how did you met him?
It's a good question because I have an answer for you. otherwise I will be in trouble. I think to answer your question, Prabhu, I need to probably go back 18 years ago in the past. I'm not going to go day by day, but I'm just going to give you a short version of it. I ran away because I got scared, and then I kind of, if I can say it in a personal level, I got lost. In that sense, I tried to be someone that I wasn't. I tried to please people in a way that it wasn't me. And I got lost in the process. So I have this kind of self-destruction kind of switch that it tends to activate when I lose my north. And I was going in that path. And I think even though I left Krishna consciousness 18 years ago, Krishna never left my heart. I mean, once you get in, he never leaves. And I think he was just there waiting for me to realize that I need to come back. But I had to go through all what I went through to do it. Sometimes you need to purify things through fire, and that's how I did it. I mean, I had to take that painful path. I had to do stupid things. I had to hurt myself in the way. And even though, to be honest, I didn't know I was doing it, because you're so deep into your own thing that you just don't see it. It's like depression, you know. You can be smiling, you can be the clown of the party, but then you have this deep depression within you that it just is there, and you know it's there.
Yeah.
So at some point, when I start to snap out of it, I found myself again visiting the local ISKCON temple. And it was because I felt that need of seeing Krishna again. I mean, I started my own kind of healing process. I had to do a lot of healing before I actually realized or admitted that I wanted to come back. I did a lot of healing. I started shyly chanting the japas again. And then I decided that I wanted to have my own kind of japa bag, and I wanted to do it properly. I wanted to sing the chant the proper amount of rounds. So I went to the temple. I got it. I got my japa bag and everything. And then suddenly just found myself in the association of pure devotees. And it started to make sense. And then I immediately started to change my habits. I changed my diet. I let go of friendships that were not good for me, not because they were bad people. They were just not the path, or let's say the kind of incentive I needed. And in that process, if we put some years forward, I got across Madhu, and somehow we click, we connected. I think we call it a bromance. And it was in the period that I was trying to look for a guru. I mean, I felt like I was in the need of someone to point me in the right direction. And you know, the more you look, the less you find. So, and one day, Madhu, we started talking about his guru, and then he showed me a picture of his Gurudev, now my Gurudev, and it was like, bang, love at first sight. And I was a little bit between annoyed and surprised. I was like, how can I feel this surrender to someone that I have never met, to someone that I haven't even talked to him. I don't even know how he thinks. I don't even know the sound of his voice. I don't even know how tall he is. And then I fell on my knees. And I think I spent at least a week looking at his picture, not Madhu's, but Gurudev's. And, sorry, the conversation was getting too serious. And and then
Actually, I was in the picture because I did not
Yeah,
send you the photo. It was like I remember it was this picture. We
yeah,
were in Paris, and Gurudev
yeah.
embraced, hugged me. Was
And
in
it
Paris.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was, I was like, yeah, I want to be like that too. I mean, I want this man to give me a hug, and uh, and then I started kind of digging in, and then I really kind of started reading about him. I was starting to listen to his lectures, and I was just blown away. And I don't consider myself someone who gives in so easy. I mean, if you think about it, we're talking about 18 years of back and forward,
Hmm.
and uh, and I don't really exactly recall the moment when I say, yeah, well, I would like to take initiation with him. But I think we discussed with Madhu, yeah, well, as I said, I would love to. I think now I feel I'm ready. And and then one day, uh, Madhu sent me a message. Yeah, you need to come into to Sky. Gurudeva is waiting for you. I said, what? Gurudeva is waiting for you. So I log in, and there he was, this beautiful man, and then kind of we had like a 5 minutes. It was a Skype call,
Yeah.
and he gave me my name, and it was like, I mean, I was completely in shock. I went blunt, and for me, it seems that it was a long phone call, you know. But then when the following day, when I woke up, I said, no, that was a dream. And then I went back, I looked at my phone, it was just a 5 minutes video call.
Yeah.
And then I sent a message to man and said, what just happened? What happened? And then I had to text Mohan and the Standard Gang, dude, I just got had enough, and I got my name, and I was like over the roof. It was like from complete shock to complete euphoria.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's I'm very thankful of Gurudev, because in his wisdom and mercy, he saved me in every possible way a person can be saved, and just by his kindness. I mean, and the day I met him in London, I was super nervous. I'm a very confident man, but I know my limits, and I've never been in the presence of someone whom I consider to be that special. I mean, I've met other gurus which have left like a very kind of positive and kind mark in my heart, but I never felt that my heart will just burst. And I was super nervous. I wasn't even able to put tilak myself in a proper way. I think it was all tilted because I was so nervous. And we were just sitting at the airport, both of us laughing because I just couldn't get it done. And then when I saw him, I mean, I think it was like, it was amazing. I mean, and he gave me a hug, the hug I really wanted, and it feels so nice. And I think by accident I took probably the role of someone who has been probably waiting to take Gurudev's luggage into the car. I just found myself dragging the the stroller myself, talking to Gurudev, and actually I got more than actually that I wanted. And that week in London was super intense, amazingly intense. It was not the program itself. It was not the kind of fact that you need to move from place to place. And London is huge, so it takes 2 hours to go from A to B, and then we
Yeah.
went to Brighton and back on the same day. And I got my diksha there. I mean, I got my second initiation, and it was super intense. I mean, it was mentally and spiritually exhausting. But still, I mean, I don't regret a single bit. I mean, I think it's probably I used to like to travel quite a lot, but then when this healing process was on its way, I realized that I didn't really want to be away from my family. I said I've been away long enough. Now I need to just stay home and be a dad, be a husband. And but when Gurudeva left, when I was told that Gurudeva is going to be visiting London, I told the family, "Hey, see you." Boom! I just took off. And with Madhu, I think we arranged the trip within a few hours.
Yeah.
We say, okay, let's buy the tickets, and this time when we arrive, and let's do it.
It was crazy because I was waiting in the station at the station. I came in the morning, so I was waiting all day at the airport. Then we went to one station. I went to another station, and then to another station.
Yeah, we were playing musical chairs with stations.
And you took the last train to that station.
Yeah.
The last train from the airport, and then we had to take an Uber.
And we couldn't get the internet to work, so it was a little bit interesting. But yeah, I mean, my flight, it was at least 2 hours late, so
Yeah,
I arrived to London quite late. So yeah, but it was an adventure.
but it was fun. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I think everything went in the way it should.
Yeah. Satya, one thing we talk about is sometimes you feel scared of Krishna consciousness as something that made you run away for some time of the process, or to take distance from devotees. I don't know how to say, but how it comes that, for example, on a musical scene like hardcore punk scene came close to Krishna consciousness, when somehow we are more related to some ideas that reject organized religion or institutional mentality, when we know that Krishna consciousness is not like an institutional thing and it's about relationships, but for some reason people see it like that, and like everything is institutional, people trying to control you, or there's some dogma there, it's like
I don't think. Yeah, no, I don't think it went that way.
yeah.
I mean, it's. I saw devotees in the hardcore scene like some sort of reaction to what Raghunath did with Shelter. I mean, I'm sure if Raghunath would have come with like as a kind of Lutheran Christian, maybe the history will have been different, because I mean, did you like it or not, he has a huge influence in what is the scene nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a controversial person, but I mean, we're good friends. But I mean, I think the way that Krishna got into his scene, yes, it was through, as I said, through Shelter 108 in the kind of maybe in a minor scale, but I don't think the people at the scene saw them as a kind of as an annoyance. I mean, they were quite okay with them hanging around. Of course, you always got the free food because they went to the shows, and then they have prasadam, and it was great. I mean, it was a good time to be in the scene, and of course, out of that, you just started to have the first Krishna bands. I think you have, what was the name of the band? Bhakti, and then of course Sudarshan came like kind of like a big
Yeah.
punch. So, but no, I think my problem with, or let's say it wasn't a problem with Krishna consciousness. I think the problem was with myself.
Yeah.
Right? When you know that you're afraid of the dark, but you know pretty well that there's nothing there. You know, it's like kind of that second in which you know you need to man up and turn on the lights, and then you will see that it was just an empty room, right? So for me, that was the thing. I mean, I knew it was an empty room. I knew there was nothing there for me to be afraid of. It was just the fact that, yeah, well, I think I was just struggling with myself. I was, as I said, I mean, I was scared of becoming a hermit and then leave everything behind, because I took this head dive into Krishna consciousness. So to the point that I was actually having this pocket version of the Bhagavad Gita. So it's, I think for me it was like when the bride runs away in the wedding sort of thing, when you're like, yeah, no, I'm not ready for this. And that was the thing. I just felt that I wasn't ready for that. I still feel that I'm not ready, but
That's part of the process.
yeah, it is part of the process. And I think that is what I needed to understand. It's part of the process. I mean,
Yeah.
because you know, when you look at the Krishna movement as a whole, it looks easy. I mean, chant Hare Krishna, be happy, and you think, yeah, well, these guys just spend their days just singing on the streets, and everything is la la la, but it's not. It's a life of renunciation, and that's kind of part that it, at least for me, was scary, that I felt that I had to renunciate everything that I had, and I wasn't ready. I mean, I had my own attachment, and I still have them.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of more into terms with it. I know it's going to be a process. I know it's not black and white. It's not from 0 to 100. I mean, there's some kind of gray area. There's some kind of colors in between that I need to go through first.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I remember first time I met Guru there in Bolivia, 2013. Someone asked it to him, how should be grihastas, for example, or people who doesn't know that devotees who are married or they live at home, how they should keep their spiritual lives alive. And I mentioned that we should always try to keep the balance between the material things and the spiritual things. Yeah, of course, do whatever you want to do to maintain your family. To if you are this or that, just do it. But with Krishna consciousness, just give love and affection to your family and take care of them. That's everything. You know, it's like just remember Krishna, remember Guru, remember Vaishnavas, and serve them. You know,
You need to
and
see everybody as gods in robes, right?
yeah, and yeah, it's one of the things that and that's why I made the question before that, because yeah, we used to talk about all these things, but just to make a recapitulación, you know, in English,
recap.
how's recap of many things that we spoke before. Is Krishna consciousness is about the relationship, you know. Bhagavad Gita says you should get close to, you should approach to Guru, bona fide Guru. No, you should not go to, I know, to ISKCON, Gaudiya Math. You go to the Guru, bona fide Guru. You know, it's like, and you try to serve people, you try to serve souls, you know, the Vaishnavas, and all, or your wife, or you know, your sons, your family, everyone, you know. So that has nothing to do with institutional institutional stuff. True. You know, so like
yeah. It's
but
it's a good take. Yeah.
And naturally, we should reject like institutional mentalities, like, oh, you're from here, from this, and are you think like this, or you are doing this, or you know.
I think the situation, at least here in Finland, is not that kind of rigid
Yeah,
anymore. I mean, they have had some issues in the past, but now they have changed. The people change, situation change.
yeah,
So now everything it's all right.
yeah,
There's some kind of inclusion
yeah.
within the Vaishnava community. So
Open-minded, more open-minded.
yeah.
But
Plus, is younger people. It doesn't have that kind of almost dogmatic thing that you probably had back in the 90s, in which the camps were clearly divided. And
yeah,
so yeah, no, but that now things have changed.
yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
I think that's been I think it's been really useful. It's kind of, I like what you were saying about the notion of the self, and I suppose with hindsight, I'm really fascinated by the way in which Krishna consciousness has in many ways gone kind of in a cycle. It's gone cyclic. So we talked to Balarama Das from the Philippines, and for me, I'm really fascinated by the way in which Prabhupada in the mid 1960s brought Vaishnavism over to America, and then in the that was 1960s, 1990s, we got people like Raghunath and Victor Kara and these Krishnacore musicians who then took on that idea of Indian philosophy and Indian theology, kind of Americanized it in a way, or westernized it in a way, and then spread it across the world. So Balarama Das down in the Philippines then heard about Krishna consciousness not from India, but from the US, and it's the same with you, with your guy, and the same with me. So therefore, it was through Raghunath and the US that and Balarama Das then was listening to Crass and was an atheist, even though he again come from a Catholic background, and then realised that it kind of realigned with these anarchist ideas. So then he was taking these anarchist ideas from anarcho-punk in the UK, had this kind of Indian theology from the US, and became a devotee, and now was living in Vrindavan as a Hare Krishna monk. And it's absolutely incredible the way in which it's kind of gone around in a full circle.
I think if my kind of pinch in that kind of idea, what you say, I think it's of course keeping the parameters in between. I think what Srila Prabhupada did for the West regarding Indian philosophy, Raghunath and the Chromaks did it to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's they translate those complicated Vedic texts to us, and I made it understandable. I mean,
yeah.
What at least if we are, for example, a 18-year-old man, and then suddenly you have this old monk wearing saffron and give you some kind of speech, what will be your reaction? At least my reaction will actually stay away from me, you old man. But then if Magdines come to me and started talking about Vedic culture, and I know Mike comes from the hardcore punk scene, I will certainly listen, because it creates a kind of bond, saying, yeah, well, we both come from the same background. We both make our kind of things on the street. We both aim for the same goals, right? Maybe in different locations, but still we listen to the same music. And so, and I think that is what Raghunath did. I mean, he translated that kind of complicated way of thinking into a kind of clear, like a clear picture. It cleared it for you. And that, I think, was so appealing to the rest of us. I say, well, if that guy who has the kind of straight edge, kind of top of the spear back in the 80s and suddenly turns to a monk, well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
and,
I mean, it's interesting, yeah.
And then it seems to me as if, you know, that notion of the self, that because the Sanatana Dharma is there, because it's such, as you say, you know, God is in everything, because there was no institution there at the time, only, you know, ISKCON, and as we know, we've gone through a few quite serious issues, but then you could use Vedic culture and rebuild something for yourself in your own space, which is meaning for you, without diluting the importance of the Vedas or the Upanishads or the Gita. You can create a space for your own self, and I think that's really important.
There's an old Jewish saying that says, if you want to save the world, just walk around your house 3 times. So, and I think it's it kind of goes hand in hand with this situation. I mean, I think, as you said, this is, at least what I see it, it's something that starts from within.
Yeah,
that's a starting point.
Yeah.
Sorry. Could we kind of just move on to some of the bands that you've been in? If I could just start with later on with Standard. So how did Standard form? How did the band come about, and how did you meet Mohan and the rest of them?
I met him in the temple. I think I went to buy some supplies. I was living in the briefly in the capital again. Now I live about 4 hours away from there, and I went to buy some supplies and to the temple shop. And they were having a ceremony, and Mohan was there, and we connected immediately because we also had common friends. You know, the hardcore scene is quite small. It's a small community, even though we're worldwide. We all know each other. And they wanted me to stay and participate from that ceremony. But then this kind of, sometimes I want to run away. So I took off. I just bought my things, and I just get off the temple. I said, no, I'm not ready yet. And but we briefly start talking about music and all that, and I explained, well, I have been playing in almost 20 years, so that sort of kind of it was almost like a veteran kind of discussion. Everybody just showing the battle scars, and then I think it was a few days later, he sent me a message and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. There's one man, German guy, living in some kind of in a city to the east side of the country that he sings. I'll play guitar, and you play bass, and then there's a drummer in this another city, which we just need to agree and then get together. I said, sure, why not? I mean, why not? I mean, I already bought a bass. So I was trying to start to play again, but just I want to play for myself. I found that it was a good therapy.
Yeah.
And then somehow this project never came to materialize until one day he sent me 3 demo songs he already had been rehearsing with Jussi. I said, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and that's how the band was formed. I mean, I think we met like entirely all of us met together for the first time during our first rehearsal, and the connection, the chemistry was right there. I mean, even though we were together for a what, 2 hours, 3 hours on that day, it felt like we were being friends like for ages. So that the chemistry is there. So that's how I actually standard. And then the name was a source of debate.
As always,
as always. Yeah, I mean, I've always known my place in a band. I mean, I'm just the bass player. I'm the quiet one. And so I say, well, whatever rock your boat is going to be fine with me. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I just want to play. I mean, if you're happy with the name, that's the name we take. Even though at some point Ragunat wanted to change it. And Mohan said, no, we stick to that name. So, yeah, I mean, the name will actually it makes sense because we're just standard guys playing standard hardcore music with standard devotional lyrics. I mean, there's nothing revolutionary there. I mean, it's just old school hardcore punk. We're just playing the music we like to play.
Yeah.
So, but as I said, I mean, I'm the quiet one in the band. I mean, and I don't really get into these sort of discussions. And I was surprised when Madhu told me that you guys wanted to interview me because I consider myself not really interview material. Even when I was in Entrefuego, it was always Hero and Charlie doing the interviews. I was just staying in the background.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm the quiet one.
I used to have a similar idea about myself in my own band, so I'm the quiet one. And we just saw the video of the first show of Standard. It was amazing, I must say, but what is special on it also is because you started with the show with the kirtan, or Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj singing Jai Radhe.
Yeah.
How was that? How comes the idea of putting kirtan at the show?
Yeah, I don't want to sound arrogant, and if I do, please, I'm sorry, but it's not the idea. It's I felt, at least on a personal level, that I wanted to have like a small ceremony on stage. Not for the people, not even for the band, but for myself. I think it was part of that healing process that I need to kind of scare away the last ghosts hanging around there with me. You know, I mean, I wanted to just exorcise the demons in a way. And I said, yeah, well, I said to Mohan, I would like to have a small ceremony before we start playing because it's just kind of give this kind of purification feeling. And then Mohan said, yeah, no, well, we are not shelter, and that's not, okay, that's fine. I mean, he made it, it did make sense what he said. I mean, yes, true. But he suggested some variants, and that's the way it went. And he said, well, I have some CDs of my Gurudev home, so we can probably play one of them. I said, it could be good. I mean, just to have them as a kind of background when at the time we're just setting up the stage, and we kind of we build up the moment, and the time before the show was quite chaotic, where there was a lot of sickness and conflicting agendas, so we had to take this kind of separate rehearsals because not all of us could actually be in the same spot at the same time. So we all live far away from each other, so it's always an issue to find the right moment to play. And I remember I couldn't make it for the last rehearsal, and I said, all right, just practice yourself, get some good recording, you send it to me, I'll listen, I'll practice at home, and then we had the one kind of last rehearsal before the show. And that was a risky move. You know, it's, at least in my experience, you need to practice quite much before you play. And but then I was in the video, oh, you know what, just okay, let's just wing it. I mean, we can do it. This is just punk. This is not really kind of, this is not the Philharmonica, so it's not really much about it. and by experience, every time, at least with my old band in Chile, every time we have a kind of a pretty bad rehearsal, is actually when we had the best shows. Because we were so annoyed with each other that, yeah, well, we are not able to even place the most basic chords, but then we just completely kill it on stage. So I said to the lads, you know what, let's relax. It's going to be fun. I mean, come on, it's all written. It's in Krishna's hand. Whatever is happening is going to happen. And even on the day itself, the CD player didn't work, so we couldn't put the bayan, and then it was all kind of, it was a nervous breakdown. And then nonetheless, I would say, oh, come on, let's use YouTube and just we put it through the computer and that's it. Yeah. So probably 5 minutes before we played, Mohan was sitting with the sound guy, just looking in YouTube, where is that bayan? Where is that bayan? And then he found it. And then when the bayan went off, it was, at least for me, at some point, it became like an obsession. But in the good way. I mean, I thought I needed that bayan. I needed to feel that I was free and in control of things. Not kind of control in a way of attachment, you know, saying, no, you know what? I know where I am now. And it's okay. And I think it built up the moment. I mean, I don't think the video, it doesn't do any favor to the show itself, because when the bayan started to play, the people were just looking around like, what's going on? And we even got friends from ISKCON who went to see us, and then when the momentum increased, and then we just started to play, and then everything was just kind of, it went crazy. I mean, the people reacted very well. We had a sold-out show. I mean, we were all shocked that it was a sold-out, because there were not really kind of big bands playing. I mean, there were some amazing band players, but none of them was big, to what I understood. Yeah. So we had a sold-out. So yeah, it was great.
People motioning.
Yeah, I was surprised, because I don't know how it's in England or in the Czech Republic, but in Chile, Madhu, you know right now that when there's a new band, everybody was just stand and stay there. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because they don't know the band and they want to check it out. Yeah. And at some point, we realized that we were building up the moment before we even got to play. I mean, people knew about us without even knowing the songs. And we always put these teasers on Instagram. Where, I mean, we put ourselves doing some rehearsal, but we put somebody else's music. and then when we played, I think we had a pretty short numbers. I mean, we didn't have too many songs, and the people then came to us, and they said, we have been waiting to listen to you, but for so long. This is great, and we really like that. He said that the starting music. The bayan, yes, that's great. So the reaction was very positive, and I think that the feedback that is being given after the show is been quite good as well. So I think everything played out.
How many people were at the show?
100. plus.
100. Yeah.
Mm.
It was a small venue. I mean, I think
Yeah.
if I was talking to the organizer, and he said if they bring the big guns, that place wouldn't be actually enough, and probably willing to look for either play outside or find a bigger venue.
Yeah. I hope just one day we could play together. It would be really fun thing.
Yeah. Well, now there's
Yeah,
a
sure.
Brazilian band coming
Yeah.
and they want to play with us. I think they got in touch with us because my past in Entrefuego.
Yeah.
I think that one of the members saw the band when we play in Brazil, and then they kind of make the link.
Yeah.
So I think there's already some discussion in arranging the tour here
Yeah.
in Finland.
Yeah. Just one thing. Could you talk a little bit about Entrefuego? I know we know
Well,
just like a political, not necessarily
yeah.
strategic band, but
Well, I think Entrefuego it's a living entity by itself. There's I really need to think this one because I don't want to offend anyone in Chile. But I think there's a change in the scene when Entrefuego came out. When I had the idea of playing a band that in which I liked the music, and when we all got together, we thought, all right, let's make this kind of 90s strife sound like band just because it's funny. And then of course we got in the band probably one of the best lyricists that exist in the South American scene. And Hero has the kind of ability to put some pretty good lyrics into the songs. And the message is clear. And I think that was the kind of the difference between us and the rest. I mean, you have the kind of traditional straight edge bands, like straight edge here, straight edge there, and eating meat is bad and go vegan sort of thing, which is good. That's their message, and that's why we love them. I mean, we are all very good friends. I mean, but then it comes Entrefuego with this kind of brick in your head with when for example, there were bands saying, yeah, well, the world is screwed up and down with the system, right? But then Entrefuego will come, yeah, well, the system is screwed up. Why is it screwed up? And then why do we need to do to make this utopia to work? And I think that was the thing that it was so appealing with Entrefuego, because he was again bringing the political approach onto things in a way that is going to be understandable. So yeah, vegetarianism is good, go vegan is good, but why? So we don't say because it's bad. No, we sung because of what the meat industry did to the animals, what the industry in general does to the environment, and so forth. And that's the way I think it was so catchy with Entrefuego, and at some point, at least for me, it got a little bit scary, because I remember to have seen someone who actually had a tattoo with like one sentence of one of our lyrics. And I was like, okay, now this is serious. And it was a little bit scary in a way. I mean, and then, for example, when we went on tour to Brazil, we didn't even finish the first leg of it, and then the whole kind of merch we had, it was gone. I mean, it was ludicrous. So we had to call back to Santiago saying, you know what, we need more records. Just please send us records because we are out of merch, and we still had to cover half of the country. So yeah, I mean, and I think that was the thing with Entrefuego, and I think they're still very, very kind of valid. I mean, that what they sing now is very kind of actual, and I think they have been able to, even though the members are not the same, they kept the kind of the mysticism and the kind of core of the band, independently who plays. I mean, the idea and the message is the same. And I'm really happy to see that they're still consequent with the things they do and with what they sing. So I'm super happy for them.
Nice.
They're like brothers to me. So
it's really interesting because
still active. It's a band that's still active.
Yeah, well, now they got like, they've been on and off.
Yeah.
They've been on and off like every kind of big band. Sometimes, let's get together show, and I think now they found compatible musicians, and they're very good in what they do. I mean, they're amazingly good musicians. So, and I think that's now they're having that kind of a new kind of fresh air to continue to do what they do. And they even already asked if they should do an European tour, that probably Standard should join them. So we'll see about that. It would be quite fun though. I mean.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just going to say that when you put some of the lyrics from that band into Google Translate and it comes out in English, it talks about illusion, about moving from the illusion, and I know that political impetus kind of the illusion of kind of mass media and government.
Yeah.
But when you kind of, again, you're going back to that notion of the self, that and it was really nice to see the illusion, and you're thinking, hang on, there could be some kind of correlation between kind of Krishnacore lyrics and what was going on at the time.
I think Eduardo Galeano has a big impact in Entrefuego's lyrics with the book, The Open Veins of Latin America. So that's, if you want to understand what Entrefuego tried to do back in the late 90s and then 2000, it's probably the book you might want to read. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's I think we all have been somehow involved with spirituality in one way or another. I mean, head of the single is a Buddhist, so for what I know. So, and since he writes the lyrics, I guess there's something there as well. I mean, I really like what he writes. So it's I think it's at least to me, it's the core of a band. You can be musically tight, catchy, and all that, but if your lyrics are just rubbish, then no. I mean, that's why maybe that's why punk rock is so appealing to me, because I mean, it's the message. I don't care about the music; it's the message.
Yeah. So I remember the Entrefuego shows that everybody gets mad at the show. Everybody knows the lyrics, and I think the lyrics, especially, are a big part of the Chilean hardcore scene. So, I mean, when I think you played in the Himnos de Esperanza y Frustración album, you played there, and everybody remembers how it starts, the first song.
Yeah,
you remember? Yeah.
It's
there's a kind of manifesto of the band, like talking about capitalism, talking about this exploitation of
Yeah,
um,
the working class.
environment, yeah, the
Yeah.
working class and all these things. So
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, think about if what if we have had now social media back then. I mean, I think the band would have actually made even a bigger impact.
yeah,
Because back in the 90s, you were known just by word. I mean, yeah, there's this band in England, or there's this band in the Czech Republic, and that's how you get to know them. That's why you have fanzines, and that's why when you buy the record, the first thing is you open the catalog and start to see, okay, these are the lyrics, and we try to move away from that with Entrefuego. I mean, for us, every song was a manifesto.
yeah,
And I think at some point that was also our doom, because we tried to stay politically incorrect in that sense, but that also was quite limiting. At some point we were to be, okay, so do we really want to continue like this and lose money in every show, or do we want to make something out of it? Then it comes this kind of ethical question: are we now calling ourselves sellout or what? And I think that was the kind of one of the first breaking points, because at some point we handle everything ourselves. We have Carlos, who's now living in Switzerland, who was actually our kind of agent in a way. He was making the booking for us, and he's been always a very kind of a dear friend to us. And but then at some point, I don't recall how, it came the idea of having a manager, because we thought that it was maybe it was kind of growing in kind of out of proportion, and then the question of are we doing this in a do-it-yourself way forever, or are we going to try to kind of make it work in a way that it gives something in return? And that's actually was the first breaking point we had. No, come on, we cannot have the lyrics we have and then have a manager. And then we kind of decided maybe we should stop. I mean, because I always said we were like the Beatles in the White Album. We were just making music, but we were not really talking to each other. I mean, and we thought maybe we should probably save the friendship and lose the band. And then for me, there was no question about it. I mean, I'd rather save the friendship and forget about the band.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't regret a bit. I mean, we had good times. I mean, and as I said, I think Entrefuego may create a change in the consciousness itself. I mean, it makes you, at the end of the day, it made you understand that, well, you can stay within the system and use the tools against the system, the same tools that the system is giving, use it against them, but do it in a smart way. I mean, don't break something because it's fun, just break something and then propose something else. So what's the proposal? What do we do? What do you want to do? How do you want to see it? I mean, that's the way that Entrefuego was doing things. And that's why the people liked it. And they still do.
yeah. Yeah, still it's like an echo. It's like an echo.
Yeah,
Still people remember
yeah, and I
Entrefuego,
think
great band from Chile.
and there was a bunch of band that came under kind of the influence. I mean,
Yeah,
you can see that there's some influence, and even if they don't want to admit it. you can see it, because it's in the way that the concept of the bands, the way they sing, how they sing, this it's there, and that's okay. I mean, it's that's normally the way it goes. I mean, probably back in the 90s, the bands were trying to let songs like Youth of Today, and now some band now let's sound like Entrefuego, and that's okay. That's
even sometimes when I played in Paris, in Copenhagen, and people ask, "Oh, you look like European." I say, "Yeah, because I'm from Chile." "Oh, I know Entrefuego." It's like people from Europe know Entrefuego as well. And
at some point we were planning to play in Europe, and actually it was the Matt Miller, the guitar player from Catharsis. He's a good friend of mine, and he put me in contact with his booking agency here in Europe, and then we started kind of to put some lines on how we would like to do it, and probably when will be the right moment to come to Europe and play, and where we could play, and so forth. But we broke up before that even happened. So
yeah.
But I think in South America we had a strong foot. I mean, I think at some point the lads made it even to Colombia.
Yeah, great.
So
I think we are about to finish the podcast.
I think so.
Yeah,
Could I just
because 1 hour, 1 hour.
could I just ask? Sorry, one more question.
Yeah.
About the influences, and I'm kind of writing a little bit at the moment about kind of the Krishnacore kind of aesthetic, and I thought it was really interesting what you said about what Mohan Daz said about we're not shelter. Why do we need this? And a kind of we look at something like Back to Godhead, and the Godhead EP has a track called Karuna on it. There's just before Ephemeral, there's like the conch shell being blown. It's obvious, this kind of Krishnacore aesthetic. And do you think with Standard, that is the sort of thing that sort of road you'll go down? Or I looked at some of the track names, and Eye for All, Set the Standard, Beyond the Modes, Stolen Lives. They're not really, perhaps Beyond the Modes, but other than that, they're not kind of Krishnacore type.
No, there is some flirting with some writings. I think it's not. Even though we're all devotees in the band, we don't call ourselves Krishnacore.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I say we have Krishna inspired lyrics, which is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for instance, when Mohan comes up with the lyrics, he said, "Yeah, well, I was just reading this text, and this is where it's coming from." And then sometimes we find some good lectures, and there's some very interesting purport, and I say, "Oh, you know what? This whole lecture could be just a kick-ass lyric for a song." But then Mohan, in his wisdom, say, "No, this is what we're gonna do." And then he gets a few kind of inspiration, and then he builds up the lyrics. So I don't think we have that kind of aesthetic per se, even though we were super honored and flattered when the Godhead put in his Instagram the same video you probably saw when we start playing with the Vajans and everything, and then he put Standard traded Krishnacore.
Yeah.
And I said, I think I guess we're Krishnacore, because that's it's a little bit of contradiction in a way, because we started with a Vajan, but then we don't really have that kind of lyrics.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's as I said. I mean, I think we consider ourselves like Krishna inspired band. So
I mean, when Mohan when Mohan
Please explain.
showed the lyrics, I say this is like a Krishnacore band. Yeah, but it's natural because Mohan write the lyrics, and it's what naturally comes from his heart. You know, it's like especially even when there is a song speak about cheating religion and cheating gurus and cheating, you know, it's, it sounds hard, but it's part of the to show the people what is right, what's wrong, and what's the real. I don't know how to say it, but I'm a bit lost now. I'm getting old. It's about to be big night.
I don't think
I
I don't think you
I
need
think you
to.
know
I
what
don't
I
think you
think you
need.
know what I
Yeah,
mean. Yeah,
I don't think you need to have that kind of aesthetic.
yeah,
If I think it's already being in a hardcore band, it creates own aesthetic. You have your own kind of codes and way of dressing, and Krishna consciousness is a personal thing. I mean, it's your own take on life. It's your own beliefs. You have Christian bands playing, at least back in the night, there was some Christian bands, and then you have the Krishna chords, and then that's okay. I mean, but
Oops.
I yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, it's if that's the way you want to do it, I mean that's good. I mean, I don't mind when people call Standard a kind of a like a Krishnacore band. I mean, it's like they say to me, "Oh, well, you're Chilean." Yeah, well, yeah, I am Chilean. So what's the deal?
yeah,
But I think that the whole kind of thing it responds to a kind of a rebirth in the Queen's consciousness. I think at some point Raghunath was talking about it, that it seems to be like a rebirth, like people is getting again re-enchanted by Krishna, and they're coming back to the fold. I mean I'm the living example of it. I mean, I ran away and now I'm back, and now I'm playing in a band that it's Krishna minded.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think we will have. Well, even we were kind of making jokes about maybe we should have in our first demo this kind of Krishna image, and then we just settle the record straight, and but we still don't know what we're gonna do. I mean, we're still in diapers in that sense. I mean,
Yeah,
we're such a mix of personalities in the band that we're still in the process of adjustment. I mean, you have 3 guys who have a lot of knowledge in hardcore music, and therefore they get a lot of influence. And then you have the 4, which is an ignorant person, which is me, because I don't really listen to hardcore, even though I play in a band. And I played in the past. I think I got stuck maybe with the bands I used to like in the 90s. And it's just a handful, and then that's where actually I got stuck. So sometimes when we're building up the songs, yeah, but this sounds like this and this sounds like that, and I was like, what? And then okay, Google. I just need to Google. That band. So
there's some
I think
bands.
that's what actually the mix that is make it actually work, because I think for example when I make the bass lines for the songs, it's I get the main idea from Mohan, who actually also makes the music, and then I say, okay, I can probably start kind of breaking it down this way and put some kind of small tricks here and there just to make it look a little bit less hardcore-ish.
Yeah.
but still within the tuke.
Yeah. But there are some bands that nowadays you are listening, new bands.
Lifelike.
No, just say just because I'm here.
Yes, just because you're here.
Yeah.
Good. I was been listening to Safe.
Yeah.
I really like it, and I had to do some catch up with them because they already have some years in the scene. So I've been listening to them. I really love the music. So if they get to see this one, I love your music. Of course, go ahead. I think it's a good band, pretty good band. I'm starting to dig the local bands here in Finland, like Health Issues. I was completely blown away when they played with us. And then I guess I just have the kind of traditional old school taste, 80s hardcore music, Warzone. I mean, I always love Warzone and Gorilla Biscuits and Youth of Today and so forth. I mean, that's pretty much
Uniform Choice. Uniform Choice.
Uniform Choice. Yeah. I mean, as I said, I mean, and Point of No Return from Brazil, I think it's still a very kind of actual band, even if they don't play anymore. So it's quite actual what they sing. So yeah.
Right.
I have this, as I said, I have this kind of very kind of small world of hardcore music. I'm mostly on different kind of music. I like to learn new stuff, even though I'm not really like a musician per se. I'm just a brute who knows how to play 3 chords and that's it.
Mike, do you have some more questions?
No, I think that's it. It's been great. It's been really nice talking to you.
Thank you so much.
It's been really enlightening.
I feel very humbled to be able to speak and then with you guys today, and maybe have a more serious, having a more serious discussion with Madhu, because we're always just fooling around and cracking a joke. So
it's okay. It was a pleasure to have you here, Satya.
It was great. Thank you so much.
As always. And maybe you would like to say some final words, maybe from hardcore people or devotees, or you want to give your phone number? I don't know.
My only fans now. Probably the only thing I will say is try to not run away. That's probably it's kind of my life lesson. It's just try to not run away. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't run away. Just try to not to do it. I mean, it's gonna catch up with you anyway. And I'm saying this because at some point I was very angry when things were not going the way I wanted in my spiritual path. And I said, why did I run away in the 90s? Why didn't I sort it out back then? And I wouldn't be having these issues now. But it was meant to be like that. I mean, that was my path. So if I had to run away, I did. But as I say, I mean, try to not run away. I mean, face things and don't do it.
Good advice.
Never give up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Satya. Thank you, Mike, again.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you so much.
It was a nice conversation, and see you next time.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.